this is part of why these 4 pieces of BOA are important to me, because all of these are based on either my personal experience and failing, right? Or that of those close to me, or at least people I considered close to me, right? People I considered friends, colleagues, family members, that I kind of watched go through, and they were missing usually one, but often more than one of these aspects of their lives, and it was affecting how they show up as a well-rounded person, right? And I know for me, I could talk about my experiences, and one of these I struggled with the most, and still do. And sometimes I go, man, I want to tell these stories specifically, but also some of these stories are not mine to tell. And so it's kind of like, how do I make sure I connect with people on why learning is such an important aspect? I think people can intellectually get it. But I mean, we talked about learning yesterday, right? I am not sure that I conveyed enough of how important I think learning is, because of the strong empathy I have for people that set aside learning for 2 decades. And these are people I love in my life who really just said, nope, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to execute. I'm going to execute. I'm going to execute. I'm going to execute. Right. And I'm focused on, I have responsibilities and I have relationships, and I'm just not going to worry about growing anymore. And 2 decades went by, and it is like not lifting weights for 2 decades, but intellectually. And those folks, once what they were doing and repeating over and over and over stopped working, they couldn't recover. That is not something I can sympathize with, but it's something I can empathize with, and something I watched people go through. And it is really, really difficult. So this is not just about being a dynamic and interesting person. This is not just about staying relevant. This is not just about improving your job skills and making more money, right?
Right.
This is an enormous core pain that people can avoid, and a loss of purpose and relevance in the last third of your life that is really challenging to recover from. I did not fully include that in our learning discussion, partly because I wanted to keep it light, but partly because some of these stories aren't my stories to tell. And I want to be careful about calling specific people out who might go, oh, he's talking about me. But yeah, having walked through life with people in that position, it is rough. And the clawback, for one of them in particular, the clawback was very challenging. Of trying to re-engage, trying to figure out how to start learning again, trying to figure out how to, trying to build up new work skills after repeating the same things for decades, and then becoming irrelevant and having to start over in the end of your career, the last 10 years of your working, theoretically. That is such a hard thing. You got to be staying on top of it anyway. Yeah. So there's that for learning. The laughs one, I think we did okay today on that front. I hope so anyway. But the laughs one, I think we all kind of know somebody that's a little too serious and don't want to be that person. Somebody who takes themselves too seriously. but it is easy to do. It's easy to become that person unintentionally. And
it's good motives.
Yeah. And with good motives.
I think when you have, especially if you're a single mom, if you're a dad, or just a parent in general, but especially I think in those scenarios, dads, it's often they feel the weight of, I need to protect, I need to provide. Mm-hmm. Single mom, same thing. I need to protect, I need to provide. Hopefully in a marriage, you don't have the wife feeling that as strongly as the man, but that does happen. Mm-hmm. A man who's derelict in his duties. But I think
also
it's
just
very
the pressure.
Easy for the weight of that reality to take precedent. It's not necessarily you don't think that happiness is important. It's not necessarily you don't want to enjoy things. It can just be, I need to make sure everything is good and everyone is safe and taken care of before I can have a moment to enjoy anything.
Yep.
And that is dangerous and can lead people into some very bad outcomes. Mm-hmm. I would theorize that there are even affairs maybe that come out of that kind of idea, that you are in that mindset, everything's hard, you are not experiencing a lot of happiness and joy in your life, and you encounter someone who triggers that feeling in you. Yeah. And you're being taken care of. They're thinking of your thoughts, and your happiness is important to them. And it doesn't feel like it's important to your family, or even though maybe that's because you're not communicating. Maybe that's because you're not taking the responsibility to take care of your own well-being and happiness as well. Mm-hmm. And maybe you have a spouse that's neglecting that. It's not necessarily that straightforward, but I just mean, it's a fertile ground for happiness to be found elsewhere outside of your family. Absolutely. Even though that's why you find yourself putting your own happiness on the back burner. Yeah. Is for your family and to take care of people that you love. You can find yourself betraying those people. Yeah.
Well, I think people who ignore laughs, it's more culturally relevant in more communal societies, right? Where they're really oriented around clan or oriented around duty, right? I have a role to fulfill. I am my role. I am not me, the individual. I am my role. I am the family I was born into. That's one where I think this ignoring laughs happens in the highly individualistic society that we have.
It's not a great bumper sticker.
But I think it happens a lot more often in these communal societies. And I'm really curious whether this message would even resonate for them, where, I mean, the suggestion of pursue laughs within your relationships, so within your business, within your family, pursue a little bit of joy and happiness here and there. I think there are some, let me think. I think the families I know that are living in those societies probably would embrace this idea to kind of a lesser extent. They wouldn't embrace all of it, but they would largely.
Well, the thing about communal societies and cultures like that is a lot of times their joy and happiness is found in the others.
Correct.
That they're putting ahead of themselves.
Exactly.
I think there is a risk that you lose yourself, or you find your definitions in other people, and then those people can be taken from you and you're lost. Yep. So it has its own, I think it has its own dangers and challenges, but there are some things that inherently lends itself to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who you are and where you fit into the world around you. And that is something that is epidemic levels in the West. If we don't know who we are and we don't know how we fit into any of it. We don't know how we fit into our job. We don't know how we fit into our family. We don't know how we fit into our friendships.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when we talk about the dynamic of more communal societies versus individualistic societies, I think the relationships one, everyone's going to agree with, but they're going to have different angles on.
Right.
The responsibility one is another one that is going to be, people are going to just go like, what do you mean responsibility? Right. Like, yes, I was born into this and this is my role. And people who abandon their role are they're castaways. They're not taken seriously. But there is a decision to embrace the responsibility that's in front of you, and to choose to take on responsibility in an intelligent way to the level that you can execute it, right? And to the right degree. You need to be, you can't take responsibility for your entire city while your family's burning down, right? You have to.
Maybe shouldn't, yeah.
Well, I would say you can try, but you can't.
How many people that are taking responsibility for our country or countries around the world are not doing a good job of taking responsibility for their personal lives and their family? Just go and look up the stories from escorts in DC.
Yeah.
How many of these pro-family politicians are actually taking care of their families? How many of them are not having affairs? Seems to be a diminishingly small number that are not doing that. Honestly, it's the more you look into the private lives of the people who are running our country, it seems they did not take Jordan Peterson's advice to heart of getting your own room in order before you try to assume to control other people's.
Right. Well, and this is where I would say to you, and how's that going for us?